Here are 17 items that you absolutely must think about, and these are hidden costs when you are thinking about making your move down here to the beautiful and sunny Phoenix, Arizona, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the number one is going to be HOA fees. Now, if you are moving into a community that has HOA fees, which all of pretty much every brand new development down here has, you're going to be looking at probably a minimum of $60 a month. And some of these HOA fees, guys, they can range all the way up to, $500–600 every single month. So not only do you need to factor that into your budget when you're planning on moving here and buying a new home, but there are also fees that get associated with, HOAs when you go to buy and sell a home. So for example, capital expenditure fees, transfer fees, disclosure fees, all of these fees can definitely add up, when you're thinking about making a move here to the beautiful and sunny Phoenix, Arizona area. So the good thing is that we can negotiate some of these fees to have the seller pay for it. And especially, right now it's a really balanced market. So most sellers are open to, helping cover the cost of these purchases. But just know that when you're buying a home down here and it is located in an HOA, these are fees that you absolutely must take into account. And again, if you're buying in, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, or Goodyear, Buckeye, Buckeye maybe not quite as much, but Litchfield Park, all of these growing and booming areas, pretty much every home is going to have an HOA fee that is attached to it monthly. So make sure that you're planning 50 to if you're buying a house, most likely you can get away with about $150 per month. If you're living in a condo like I am, plan to spend anywhere from $250 to maybe about $400. And some of these, they cover HOA, or they cover, water, sewer, and we'll get into that more in a second. But just for now, just know that HOA fees can definitely sneak up when buying a new home down here. Number two, this one definitely sneaks up on people and caught us by surprise when we had moved down here, is you're gonna be your summer AC bills. Obviously, so I'm filming at the start right now. I'm filming at the start of summer right now, and it's getting absolutely blazing, so I'm gonna have to pop in the shade every once in a while. But if you are moving down here and you will have, especially a two-story house, you can expect to pay in the summer, you can expect to pay, $300, $400, maybe even $600 a month in AC bills. So we got pretty good at, learning how to live with our hot a little bit, warmer. You guys will probably think this is crazy and comment down below if you think I am. But we keep our condo, when we're just sitting, hanging out in the middle of the summer, not like cooking or doing anything, we keep our house at about 79 degrees. And it sounds blazing hot, especially, if you're coming from the Midwest where you're used to like 72 or 73. But I'm telling you, when you walk inside from when it's 115 out and you walk inside and, it's 40 degrees cooler, it makes a huge difference. So you definitely got to learn to keep your home, maybe a little bit cooler or a little bit warmer in order to keep those summer bills down. If you have like a single level story or a home that's, built out of brick, it definitely helps, keep your AC bills a little bit lower. But I'm telling you, if you have, a two-story home that is 2,000 to 2,500 square feet, you can expect to pay, I would budget at least $500 in the months of July and August. But depending on how cool you keep it, definitely going to be more. Some other tips, just if during the middle of the day, if nobody's there, just bump it up to, 79, 80, 81, 82. There's no point in having your AC run all day if nobody's there. So, and for sleeping temperatures, we sleep at about 75. We have our ceiling fan, and then we both each have a personal fan going just to try to keep those bills as low as possible. So if you're thinking about moving down here, summer AC bills are definitely going to be a little bit higher. Now, number three, another sneaky cost that can add up quickly is a private swimming pool. Not this little beautiful lake here, but a private swimming pool. So, if you are, I'll tell a story here in a second, but if you're thinking about, buying a home and it does have a swimming pool, I would expect to budget, about $100 to $150 every single month, just to kind of, prepare yourself for, I feel like there's always something going wrong, with like pool pumps or all kinds of different, pool equipment. But also, if you don't want to, take care and clean the pool yourself, this is definitely going to be a cost that you want to budget in and make sure that you're thinking about if you have a private pool. For the most part, you can kind of watch the chemicals and, do all the cleaning yourself. However, if this is like your second home and you definitely don't want to take care of it, pool companies charge, about $100 to $150 a month, depending on, what company you go with. But some other things to think about is just some future repairs too. So like I said, if you don't have a guy, I'd maybe schedule, $50 to $100. If you do have a guy that comes out constantly, they'll check everything for you every time that they're out there. So make sure that that pool is working and it's staying nice and sparkling clean. But like I said, I would budget anywhere from, maybe $100 to about $200 if you are doing it yourself or if you have a pool guy. So pool costs can definitely add up. So one of my clients, they actually own like a pool repair company, and I was joking with them. I said, do you guys own a pool themselves? And they said, heck no, Eric, that is way too much work. We don't want anything to do with that. We have a community pool and we take advantage of that. So and same thing, I'm a golfer, and like I never would buy a house on a golf course. So just kind of funny how the pool industry, people, the pool repair, they don't even have one themselves. However, for most people, you know, it's a really great way to escape the heat and, you know, just soak up that beautiful blue water. So pool costs can definitely sneak up on you, so you want to make sure that your budgeting is when you're buying your new home down here in Phoenix. Now, number 4, again, kind of similar with the pool of you can save a lot of cost by just doing this yourself, but it's just going to be like landscaping. Now, again, I live in a condo community, so the HOA, they cover all of this for me. So when I come home, I don't have to worry about nothing. I love that part of it. But you know, if you are, you know, investing in a landscaper or somebody to come and mow your grass and cut your grass, you're definitely going to want to plan, you know, anywhere. I would say on a safe estimate, probably about $100. You know, they might come like once a month or once every other month, depending on how often. Just some things to keep in mind. Again, if you are, you know, thinking about moving here, and this might be, you know, your second house or your third house, or, you know, eventually your primary, but you don't want to take care of those, you know, yourself, I would budget, you know, $50 to $100 every single month for somebody to come by and landscape. So when we had a rental house, we had a couple plants in the back, and when I first moved here from Nebraska, I wanted nothing to do with landscaping, but it honestly was kind of fun, you know, just to pop out and hang out, spend some time with Steph, and, you know, cut some shrubs, and eventually we got, you know, you're cutting, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, there's no plant left. So, you know, it is kind of fun, but, you know, when it's July and August, do you really want to be out there, you know, trimming bushes? And there's some plants I don't know, you know, a ton about. I don't even know what the word is, but like different plants down here. I'm still learning my desert landscape plants, but the bougainvilleas, those things are crazy. So they, you know, bloom like 3 to 4 times a year, and they can grow like wildfire. So just some things to think about. Planning on doing your own landscaping. If you're not, I would budget about $50 to $100 every single month. All right, guys, number 5 is going to be pest control. So, you know, yes, there are in the desert here. It is the Sonora, and Phoenix is smack dab in the middle of it. So there's going to be some pests and, you know, little spiders and scorpions and stuff like that. So if you are thinking about getting pest control, it's going to run you, again, probably about $50 to $100 a month. And these are why these are all hidden costs, because like you don't really think about it, and then all of a sudden it adds up and you're like, oh my gosh, we're spending an extra $500 a month on not even like utilities or anything like that. So pest control, so again, when we lived in the rental house, we never had it. We just had ants once, and that was because my roommate left out some fast food for a little bit. So outside of that, I've never had any issues. We live on a ground floor condo unit right now. We've never had any, you know, issues with like scorpions, or actually I've never even seen a scorpion down here, and I've lived here for almost 5 years, only seen 2 snakes. So it's way less common than you think. But if you are, you know, if you want like no spiders and stuff like that, they'll come and they'll spray like the exterior. Now, one thing that you absolutely must know about owning a house down here is every house is going to get termites. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They're subterranean termites, so it's going to be a little different than, you know, if you're from like the Midwest or like the Northeast or the Northwest. A little different types of termite. I don't know exactly. I don't think they do quite as much damage, but they're pretty easy to see. You just see like little tubes along like the side of your house. That treatment is about $400 to $600, you know, for them to come out, and then usually they have like a 1 or 2 year guarantee. So again, you know, I would say about 1 in every 3 homes that we, you know, have go under contract, they always find termites. So super, super common. And again, if you just want, you know, more preventative care every single month, you're looking at anywhere from $50 to $100 a month. And then if they do find termites, you're going to be penciling in about $500 to $600, you know, for them to come out, take care of it. And then there's usually like a 1 or 2 year warranty with that. So, you know, some things to keep in mind, some pest control down here. And then as far as snakes, so if you have a snake on your property and you want a company to come take it out, I think they charge like $200 or something. Maybe it might be less. I haven't quite had it happen yet. My uncle, or Steph's uncle, had it happen down in Tucson. And after that, he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. I'm not paying for that. So I think it's like $150 to $200 for a company to come out and remove the snake off your property. Or you could just get like a super, 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 super long stick and just kind of poke that thing away, and eventually it'll scurry off. So just some things to keep in mind with pest control. down here in the Phoenix area. Now guys, before we get to number 6, and I had to stop in the shade. It's absolutely blazing hot outside and my camera is getting a little warm. So if you ever see every once in a while I gotta pop in the shade, it's definitely why. But guys, my name is Eric and I help people just like you that are thinking about making a move down to the Phoenix, Arizona area. I moved here from Nebraska a couple years ago. I absolutely love Phoenix. I changed my entire career in my life just to help you and people in your exact same situation that are thinking about making a move to the Phoenix area. So guys, pause the video, jot down our contact information. We want to help you move and we want to help you find the perfect house. So we've covered the entire Phoenix Valley and we can uncover, you know, some great neighborhoods that you might not necessarily think about when you were planning on making your move down here. So guys, pause the video, jot down our contact information, email us, call us, text us. If you're moving tomorrow or if you're moving in 5 years, guys, we want to hear from you. We want to connect with you. I moved here for the weather. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best places to live in the entire United States, and I want to help you, you know, settle into your move down here in a beautiful and sunny Phoenix, Arizona area. And guys, click the like button, comment down below. I want to know your thoughts of the video so far, and what have I not hit, and what are your thoughts about my first 5 so far. So without further ado, let's get into more of our list. Now, water bills. Guys, this is a pretty hot and controversial, you know, topic down here in the desert, but residential use is honestly way less total use than you might think. A lot of the water use goes to like agricultural and you know, like big like neighborhood developments, like all the green space, and obviously a lot of golf course. Golf is a huge tourism business down here. So residential use is only, I think it's only maybe like a third. There'll be a graphic that will show more specific of the exactly how much they use. But water use honestly isn't as common as you think, but we don't have it as bad as Vegas. So for example, Steph's aunt, she lives out in Las Vegas, and they are paying people to take out the front grass or take out the grass in their house and replace it with, you know, either like turf or rock. Phoenix does not have that yet, especially like if you buy a house in more of the central part of the city, they have what's called flood irrigation. So once or twice a month, especially in the summer, they will come, you open up this hose, literally your entire yard will flood with water, and then the grass will just soak it up. And that's just part of, you know, living here. So if you buy a house with flood irrigation, that is all part of your water bill. Now, why is it a hidden cost? Because if you are constantly, you know, watering your grass, so I have a friend in Mesa, he owns about a fourth of an acre, maybe, you know, a quarter acre, and he waters, I think like once or twice a week, just like, you know, sprinklers and stuff like that. And his water bill in the summer at peak is about like $200 to $250. And then in the off months, you know, in the wintertime where he's not quite winter watering as much, it gets down to about $100 to $150. So again, just some hidden things to think about. If you're buying a house that has, especially he's got a decent amount of grass, these costs can definitely sneak up. So you want to make sure that you're planning this in your budget. But, you know, for most homes that, you know, kind of look like this where they have, you know, just rock and turf, again, I would probably budget maybe around $100 every single month just to kind of be safe. But, you know, especially if you have a pool, your costs are definitely going to be a little bit higher. And a lot of the plants too, this goes kind of at the landscaping that we talked about earlier. A lot of the plants have these like little like drip irrigation systems that run to it and just constantly are just getting just a little bit of water. So again, I would budget anywhere from $100 to maybe $250 in total water use, unless you are just opening up that faucet all day long. You should have no worries. But the nice thing too with water is if you live in a condo community, we'll have to double check their HOA rules, because some condo communities, for example, like ours, we don't have to pay for water. Well, I guess we do. It's just all included in your HOA fee. So again, we just want to make sure that we're addressing all of the hidden costs that are going into when you buy and move into a new home here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. So water can definitely sneak up on you. Number 7, so this one can definitely sneak up on you, and you got to be careful that you make sure you do all the math before buying. But buying solar or leasing solar. So leasing solar, I probably would never recommend that. It's probably a very, very rare case. I'm not an expert obviously in this, but we do help people that, you know, have to sell their home. And if you are selling your home and it is on a solar lease, it is going to be very, very challenging, because people have to sign up, you know, when they're not only qualifying for the house, they have to qualify for the additional debt that the solar lease has on it. So probably wouldn't recommend that. But if you do go to and decide to get a solar lease, or if you decide to purchase solar, and we'll cover purchasing solar here in a second, but a solar lease, you know, you're going to be looking at anywhere from I would say probably $150 to $300 every single month. Now you might be thinking, why would I pay an additional money just to have solar on my house? So a lot of your costs can be offset. So like in the summer, especially if you like to have like a little bit cooler house, if you have enough solar panels, the birds are crazy down here, I hope you can hear it. But if you have enough solar panels on your house, might be completely offsetting your total electric bill. So like in the summer, your bill, maybe instead of $500 to $600, maybe your bill is, $50, or it might even be zero. And then in the winter, the utility company actually pays you. They give you a credit because of how much power your solar is generating when, it's just sitting there every day charging. So especially in the winter, you're not going to use quite as much, utility. So solar is definitely something to look into. If you're looking at purchasing, that can run. It really depends on how many panels you want. We were just touring a house. It was about 2,500 square feet. They went mega on their solar. They put I think 80 panels or something crazy on their house, and their total bill I think was like $75,000. That's definitely on the high end. You don't quite need that much. I'd say on average, if you're looking to purchase solar, it's anywhere from, again, maybe like $30,000 to $40,000, depending on how many panels and all of that stuff. So the solar companies can definitely help you out there. But I would not, if you are thinking about moving down here and you're planning on living in this house for a minimum of 5 years, probably closer to 10. Solar might be a great investment, but if you're only planning on living in your house for a couple years, probably would not recommend putting solar on the house. But why is it a secret cost? Because some homes already have the solar built on it. So if you are going to be taking on the lease, or if it has remaining payments, and if it has remaining payments, we can actually ask the sellers to pay the remainder off at the close of escrow. But if it does, you need to budget, I would say $100 to about $250 every single month into the solar payment when you're buying a new house down here. So definitely a hidden cost that most people do not talk about. Number 8, so this one, is not quite as hidden as maybe some of the others that we had talked about, but it's going to be your moving costs. Man, these can sneak up. I did not realize how much this cost when we were thinking about moving down here, and honestly, I wish we just would have sold all of our furniture and just bought it down here. So we did a DIY truck, where we rented it, we drove it, we loaded it, we did everything, and I think even then it was still and this is from Nebraska, about 24-hour drive, right? I think it was still 2,000 to almost 3,000 by the time you get gas and insurance and all that stuff like that. So definitely a hidden cost. If you're going more like the pods route, good thing with Phoenix is that it's a major city, so pods does service down here. Again, I would budget anywhere from like $4,000 to $6,000. And then if you want full-on movers, they're taking care of everything. You definitely need to budget on the higher end, $6,000 to $12,000, depending on are you moving from Ohio or Seattle or just Los Angeles. So definitely some things to keep in mind when you are moving down here is going to be the cost of the moving vans. It can definitely sneak up on you, snuck up on us, and definitely something you need to consider when making your move down here to Phoenix. All right, number 9 is some more hidden costs of when you purchase and move into a new home down here in Phoenix. These are going to be storage fees. So Arizona homes are notorious for having negative storage in their house. So, again, I'm from Nebraska where we had basements, we had attics, and really huge garage spaces. Arizona, you can take all of those and basically throw them out the window. The attics get so blazing hot, you really don't want to store anything up there. The garages are super tight and narrow. Just ask anybody that's moved down here. There's basically no spot in the garages. So a lot of people build these self-storage things up at the top just to help just clear up even more space. Or honestly, a lot of people just park in the driveway and just have their garage for storage. But obviously no basements down here. The ground's very hard, so a lot of homes don't have basements either. But why is this a hidden cost? Because if you have a lot of stuff in your home and you don't have enough storage, you're gonna need to get a storage unit. So again, a lot of these, depending on how big you need, you could probably range, maybe $75 to $150 every single month into your budget for just storing all of your stuff. If you do have, too much stuff, I would throw that stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Try to, kind of declutter. I feel like once every, 2 or 3 months, Steph and I take inventory of our house. We're like, all right, we haven't used this waffle press in 6 months. We got to get rid of this thing. So just some things to think about. Arizona homes have no storage. I'm telling you, it's shocking. Anytime that you can get a little 42-inch cabinets, or you get a space underneath the stairs, it's crucial because none of these homes down here have any storage. So definitely some things to keep in mind, that if you have a lot of stuff and you're moving down here, you're gonna need a storage unit, and those fees can add up quickly. So $100 to $150 for additional storage fees here in Phoenix. All right, moving on to number 10. So actually this one's very affordable, but we still have to bring it up. These are all costs associated with moving and living down here in Phoenix, Arizona. So again, I moved here from Nebraska. When I went to register my car, I had a 2004 Lexus RX 330. It's a beautiful car. Honestly, I still wish that I had it, but when I went to register in Omaha, I think it was like $600 for the year, $500 for the year just to register my car, which is absolutely insane. Down here in Phoenix, when I first moved down here, I think I got 2 years for $100. So it's a huge and wildly difference of how cheap and affordable it is to register your car down here in the state of, Arizona, and then in the city of Phoenix. Now you do have to get emissions. So I think if your car's older than like 2017, 2018, somewhere in there, you have to go and take it every 2 years. Whenever you get a license, you got to take it. They just check the emissions to make sure that it is not, putting off. It's a valley. It's a huge dust bowl down here, so they got to make sure that it's not putting off, a ton of harmful emissions for everybody else that's living down here. So super, super affordable to register your car down here. So one of my friends, he just bought a brand new, or not a brand new Corvette, but a new Corvette. He spent like, I think it was like $65,000 or something on it maybe. And to register his car for 2 years was $600. So I'm telling you, a major, major deal in when registering your car down here in Arizona, and especially in Phoenix, is how affordable that it can be. But you definitely still need to know, because most people are not going to tell you all the fees that go into making a move down here and living here in Phoenix. So to get your emissions, I didn't cover that. It was like $20, $25 or something like that. And then I would probably, depending on the value of your car, estimate anywhere from $150 to $350 to register your car down here in the sunny Arizona area. All right, guys, number 11. So I'm absolutely blazing. It's ripping hot down here. I'm on some black pavement and kind of dripping sweat. So hopefully it doesn't come through too much onto the camera. But number 11, guys, is home insurance. So the great thing with Phoenix is there's pretty much no natural disasters. Maybe a rare earthquake every once in a while. Honestly, the only natural disaster down here is just heat. So home insurance is definitely going to be more affordable than other areas, in the United States. For example, like we don't have hail or tornadoes or anything like that. So in terms of home insurance, on a, just a standard of the mill, 2,000 square foot home, I would probably expect to pay anywhere from $150 to $200 a month, maybe $250 on the higher end if you want to be, a little bit more proactive in your budget. I have a condo. Again, we have a condo down here. I think our insurance for the entire year is like $800. So obviously a condo is going to be a little bit cheaper. Part of the HOA covers the roof and siding, all of that. But I would say on average, just make sure that you're planning around $150 to $250 just to be safe. But I'm telling you, this is why all these fees add up. We're only at 11. We got a couple more to go. But a lot of these fees can add up when you're making a move down here. So I want to make sure that you're fully prepared in your budget, and you know all of the costs associated with getting a home down here in Arizona. So again, $150, $250. So every home, when you buy a home down here in Arizona, the sellers have to disclose if there was any insurance claims in the last 5 years. Honestly, it's probably about 1 in 8 that a home actually has a claim on it. So very, very rare that you'll use it, which is definitely very nice. But sometimes there's like plumbing leaks and stuff like that, all kinds of different items for why you might have a claim. But for the most part, it doesn't really get used too often down here in Phoenix. So home insurance can definitely sneak up on you. Some people decide not to have it. I think that's a little sketchy, but it's totally up to you. But if you're getting financing, definitely need it. So $150 to $250 just to be safe down here in Phoenix. Now, number 12. This one definitely can sneak up on you, but I highly, highly recommend it. So it's going to be like window tinting, or putting, you'll see some, I'll point it out. There's none around me right now, but we put these sunshades onto all of our windows, and I'm telling you, it made a huge difference. Now, if you have newer windows, so like if you have the old, 1995 windows, you're honestly gonna want to look at getting those replaced. It's probably $2,500 maybe a window, just because they are they just pump in heat to your house. So if you are potentially getting new windows down the road, I'd probably budget $1,500 to $2,000 to $2,500 per window. But what we did is, instead of getting new windows, here we're gonna walk up here on a sec. But we looked at tinting, which was about maybe $75 a window, but we put these sunshades on. So not only does it keep your house nice and cool, but it also limits how much sunlight is actually coming into your house. So we put these on. It made a huge difference. Literally, our primary bedroom, when you would walk around this corner, you could just feel like a wall of heat before we had it. We put these on. It's about $125 per window, and it made a huge difference. So I'm hoping you can see see these right behind. So it's, you know, all black. They have different varieties on how much sun can get in. Most block out like 80% of the light. So it is, if you like a home that has, you know, nice, bright, natural light, it might not be the best thing, you know, for you. But for us, we're like, honestly, we don't care. It's so freaking hot in this house that we have to look at putting them on. So here, we'll get a little bit closer view of the ones right here. So you cannot see in it at all. So it does also, you know, provide some nice privacy into your home. So again, maybe budget for, if you're gonna look at replacing windows, which if it's an older window, you definitely want to consider it. That, you know, you're looking at $2,000 to $2,500. And then for the little window shades, or the window tinting, about $100 to $125 per window down here in Phoenix. All right, number 13, the taxes. So the taxes in the Phoenix metro area, guys, are so cheap, so cheap compared to other areas of the country. So I own a house in Nebraska, my brother and I. Guys, I think, so this is just like it's probably worth maybe like $250, and a little 1,500 square foot home. Guys, we pay almost $4,000 every single year on this just for property taxes. Down here in Arizona, it's usually about half of whatever the purchase price is. So just as a safe kind of parameter. So just think about that, guys. A $500,000 house in Gilbert, you're only going to be expecting to pay about $2,500 a year in taxes. So taxes are super affordable. We had a, you know, really nice family move out to a home in Gold Canyon. I think it was about like $680,000 was their house, and their total taxes for the year are about $3,800, which is just absolutely absurd. So the property taxes down here are super affordable. Now, some other areas, you know, where it's like super growing a lot. So eventually, like I'm sure Buckeye and Goodyear, they're gonna have to raise their property taxes just because of how much, you know, growth. Whenever you're building all these brand new developments, people need schools, they need fire departments, they need, you know, police officers out there. I gotta get in the shade. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely boiling. A lot of these property taxes, you know, eventually they're probably gonna have to go up just because of how much growth there is. But for right now, property taxes are super affordable here in the Phoenix metro area, which is a, you know, yes, the purchase prices are higher than maybe other areas of the country, but the property taxes and insurance definitely help kind of offset some of those costs. So property taxes are super affordable down here in the Phoenix area. All right, number 14, guys, if you're still in this video so far, click the like button and comment down below. That means you like the content that we're putting out. It also helps YouTube push this out to more people that are in your same situation, you know, that are thinking about making a move here in the Phoenix Valley. My camera's hanging in there, I'm hanging in there, so make sure you stay all the way to the end. You're not gonna wanna miss the last number. So, number 14, this is going to be water heaters. So the water in Arizona is super hard. There's a ton of calcium on it, and it wears and tears, you know, on your water heater a lot more, as well as, you know, just some of like your faucets and stuff like that. But specifically a hidden cost that you want to make sure that you're considering is a new water heater. So again, you know, if you want to put them in yourself, that's probably like $1,000 to $1,500, you know, depending on like the size that you need for your house, or if your house has two of them. But for the most part, if you are hiring somebody else to do it, costs have gone up so much during COVID, unfortunately. But you're probably looking at $2,000 to $2,500 a year in a brand new, or not a year, $2,000 to $2,500 maybe every like 10 to 15 years, just with how hard the water is. So I've heard a couple different theories on this, and if you're a plumber, honestly, please comment down below because I want to know. I've heard people say that, you know, you should flush it out once or twice a year to kind of, you know, just get all those hard, you know, minerals and stuff out. I'm not a plumber at all, as you guys can tell. But I've also heard that, so the plumber that I had, he said you shouldn't wash it because like every water heater is going to get these like little holes in the lining of it, and some of those like harder, like some of the minerals, they can help like block it, so it can actually extend the life of your water heater. So honestly, I have no idea. I feel like if you drain it once a year, I feel like that would help, you know, just get all that stuff out of there. So again, if you're a plumber, please comment down below. But, you know, just some things to think about if you are, you know, buying a home down here and it has a little bit older water heater. It's going to be a hidden cost that sneaks up on you. So about $2,000 to $2,500 just to be safe when buying a new home if it has an older water heater. All right, number 15, guys, this is a massive hidden cost that you absolutely need to think about when buying a home down here is the AC unit and the age of it. If you have an older AC unit, we can do everything that we can to negotiate to have the seller, you know, either pay for it or give you a 2-year home warranty plan. That way, if it does go out, you're fully covered. But guys, if you have an AC unit go down for the count down here, it is going to be very expensive to get that replaced. So on the low end, you're probably looking at like $10,000. On the higher end, you're probably budgeting, you know, $15,000 to $20,000 per unit. So these costs can add up like crazy, and it is absolutely going to be a must when it is 115 in July and it doesn't get below 97 for a low. You're gonna make sure that your AC is working properly. So just some things to offset this. Once or twice a year, definitely want to have a company come out. They'll blow blow out all of the dust. Make sure your compressor. There we go. I'm not an AC technician either, but you're gonna make sure that you're servicing your unit down here twice a year, because they are running like constantly in the summertime, and you do not want those things to go out. You want to make these things last as long as possible. Everybody down here says if you can get 15 years out of an AC unit, you're doing good. I think ours is maybe, honestly, I don't even remember, but it's hanging 2013. So we're getting kind of in that 12 to 13 time frame. So in the back of my mind, I'm already just planning on saving, more for a potential AC unit. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference once you get one. It's a little bit more energy efficient, but it is a major cost that most people do not think about when buying a home down here. The furnaces, people don't really run those too often, as if, you were living in like the northern climate area. But ACs, they run from basically, I would say, March and April all the way up until October, pretty much nonstop. So you're gonna wanna make sure you have a good AC unit and that it's working properly. So make sure you're planning on, 10 to 15 to 20,000, depending on how big the house is for a new AC unit. Number 16, so we talked about this earlier, a lot of the water here in Phoenix is very, very hard. So a way that people combat that is installing a soft water heater, or a water heater. No, not a water heater, a soft water treatment plant system. There we go. So this cost can definitely add up, especially if they don't have like a soft water loop already built in, like the builders. We just had a client down in Maricopa, actually. They're thinking about selling their house, and they spent, I think it was like $4,000 to $6,000 in order to get soft water into the house. So, and then, once every couple months, you got to buy all the salt and everything to help treat the water to make it softer. But I'm telling you, the water is very, very hard down here. So if you are coming from parents like love soft water up in Nebraska, so they probably would look to install it right away. This is definitely going to be a hidden cost, because most people don't think about how hard the water is down here. So if you love soft water, I would budget anywhere from maybe $4,000 to $8,000 on the safe side, just to make sure that your costs are covered when buying a new home down here in Phoenix. Honestly, I don't really mind too much. We've lived here for 5 years. I don't really know anything different. When you go back to Nebraska, you can definitely tell, but on a day-to-day basis, you kind of get used to it, and it's not too big of a deal. But if that's something that you absolutely love, make sure you budget that into your budget here in buying a new home in Phoenix. Now, guys, our last and final item of a hidden cost that you want to make sure that you're absolutely thinking about when buying a new home down here, I'm hanging in there, I hope you are too, is a new roof. So the roofs down here, a lot of them are tile, right? I hope you can see from my camera. I wish I had a drone. So roofing costs down here definitely can add up. So it's not quite exactly what you think. So on a tile roof, for example, those tiles can last 40, 50, 60 years. So extremely, extremely durable. However, there's a paper that blocks basically the wood of the house and the tile. So it goes in between it. It's called the underlayment. Now this underlayment, you have to replace every like 20 to 30 years. That way it will help stop roof leaks. So what they do, they take all of the shingles off of the roof, put a new piece of paper on, maybe two, I don't know exactly. I think they do two, maybe they're starting to now. Then they put all of those tiles back onto the roof. So relatively simple process. But again, I would budget anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, depending on how big is the house, and are you doing one sheet or two sheets or whatever. There's all kinds of different stuff that a roofing company can charge you, but these costs can definitely add up, especially if you're buying a house that was built in like the early 2000s. It's a looming cost that eventually you're going to want to replace. Now, on the good side is that most days it's sunny down here, right? We don't get too much rain, but when we do, it absolutely downpours, and you'll know in the summer months if your roof is starting to leak that it's time. Outside of that, there's not too many like warning signals that you would know that it's time, outside of just general age. So again, if you're thinking about buying a home down here and you're buying in that early 2000s window right now, make sure you're budgeting for down the road of getting a new roof and taking the underlayment. We do have some shingles, and I think there's some even metal roofs down here, but for the most part, I would say 90% of the homes, they have the clay tiles, and then they'll take it off, put the new underlayment on, and put all those tiles back on. So guys, that wraps up our completed list of 17 items of hidden costs when you're moving down here to Phoenix. So guys, I hope this list was comprehensive and very helpful for when you're thinking about making a move down here in Phoenix. And guys, click the like button, comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. And again, if you're thinking about making a move down here to Phoenix, guys, pause the video, jot down our contact information. We want to hear from you. We want to help you, and we'll help you get into a great neighborhood here in Phoenix. So thanks for watching. Check out the other videos on our channel, and we'll see you soon.